I wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Taureca Said Again. I think this week the headline is going to be titled, When the Victim Isn't the Victim. I'm going to say that again. When the victim isn't the victim. Now we know today's headline has been buzzing. Social media talk. And many of you, I know you have seen the videos involving Tigger. I call him the hip hop personality. But Tigger and the allegations surrounding an incident with a woman. Her name is Alicia. Since the matter has been widely discussed online and facts are still being sorted out, I'll say allegedly, okay? Based on what has been, say, made public, some people believe the situation was staged to make Tigger appear to be the aggressor, and vice versa. But after a dispute involving his phone, okay? Whether that's ultimately proven or not isn't the point I want to focus on today. You know, addictive patterns, we talk about behaviors and patterns and signs and principles. So that's going to be the focus of today's session. I want to talk about patterns. Okay? Patterns. One person says, just give me the phone back. You know, he could have just gave the phone back. Another says, just buy another phone. Just buy another phone. But neither of those responses addresses the bigger issue. Why are we creating situations that escalate conflict in the first place? Why are we here? How did we get here? And that's what addictive patterns is all about. Sometimes people become addicted to chaos, and I've said this before. They become addicted to control, manipulation, being pursued, creating emotional emergencies. Oh my gosh. Or always needing to be the victim. Those behaviors don't just hurt the relationship, they can destroy lives. Let me say that again. Those behaviors don't just hurt relationships, they can destroy lives, people's livelihoods. And as you can see, another part of this story has resurfaced. We found out there was a previous case involving the same woman, Alicia, and it has been brought into the public eye or the public conversation. There was a man named Ramon Joyner, and he was previously convicted in connection with the alleged kidnapping of her daughter, Aaliyah. It's spelled Ailea. However you phonetically pronounce that, okay? Because parents, they do some things with those vowels and them letters, and sometimes they ain't always phonetically how we've been taught to pronounce those letters. But nevertheless, this Ramon guy has been previously convicted in connection with the alleged kidnapping of her daughter and has reportedly asked Delaware authorities to reopen his case, claiming that some of the behaviors that Alicia exhibited, exposed, whatever the case is, some of those same behaviors that they have witnessed in the Tigger incident are similar to what he experienced years ago. That victim not always being a victim. Again, those are allegations, and it's important to let the legal process determine the facts, of course. But it does raise an important question. When should we start paying attention to repeated patterns instead of isolated incidents? One of the biggest mistakes people make while dating is asking about a person's favorite color before asking about their life story. You know, that's small talk. What's your favorite color? Yeah, that should be a part of it. But let's get to the meat of it. Let's ask some important stuff, especially if someone has children. You know, of course, let the questions be respectful, but simple questions as, where are your children? Who has custody? How often do you see them? What happened? Those aren't judgmental questions. They're responsible questions when you're considering building a future with someone. Sometimes we know people, they assume there are, innocent explanations, and often they are. But sometimes, as we see right here, sometimes the answers reveal unresolved legal issues, unhealthy family dynamics, or recurring behaviors that deserve your attention. So doing your homework isn't being paranoid, it's being prepared. And we know sometimes even when you do your homework and you do background checks, other things unveil itself. So background checks aren't just for employers anymore. Public records exist for a reason, and that's something to think about. If you're investing your heart, your peace, your finances, or your future into someone, learning their history can be an act of wisdom, not suspicion. And who cares if somebody says she knows it? Oh, she detective. And and if I can prevent some of the heartaches that I might experience, why not? Let me be the detective. Let me be the investigator. History, it has a way of repeating itself. And I've said that over and over and over again. Better yet, that's part of the paragraph I have in here. Understanding patterns will help you understand life. If you pay close attention, history only repeats itself. What we call chaos is patterns we haven't recognized. And what we call random is just patterns we can't decipher. Yep, straight from the book, Addictive Patterns. So, as I said, history has a way of repeating itself when patterns go unaddressed. When we don't talk about it, when we don't discuss it. Red flags rarely introduce themselves as red flags. They often arrive disguised as excuses, emotional stories, or isolated incidents. Then, months or maybe even years later, you realize those little things were actually a pattern all along. So today, I want to leave you with this question. Are you dating the person standing in front of you, Or are you ignoring the history standing behind them? Yeah, I'm going to say that one more time. Are you dating a person standing in front of you? Change person, because everybody and anybody can change. So are you dating the person in front of you? Because we know no one is perfect, right? But have you changed? Or are you ignoring the history standing behind them? The one you should have done some research. The ones you should have just simply asked some questions. The ones you should have gone around family to see what the family doing, what they saying, how they acted. And that's something to think about. You have people that have actually never met people, family members. You can't say everybody has died off in the family. It should be somebody still living. And this isn't about condemning anyone. Trust and believe that. Because again, people can grow. People can change. But change requires accountability, not repeated cycles. That's why I always come back to addictive patterns. Whether addiction is to chaos, manipulation, control, toxic relationships, or always needing to be the victim, the pattern will continue until someone decides to break it. Remember, don't just listen to people's words. Watch their patterns, their behaviors, because patterns often tell the truth long before people do. That's it. Hopefully you got something out of today's session. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Spotify. Have a good one.